Right then, you lot, stop whinging about the price of fertilizer and listen up. If you want to be a proper farmer, you need to start treating your soil like it's the crown jewels, not some dusty old carpet. It's simple, really. Healthy soil equals healthy crops, and healthy crops equal more money in your pocket. Now, I know what you're thinking. Clarkson, you're about as subtle as a combine harvester in a china shop. But trust me on this one. We're going to talk about some proper farming techniques, the sort your granddad used before all these fancy gadgets came along. By the end of this video, you'll be well on your way to turning your barren wasteland into a blooming paradise. So, grab yourself a cuppa, settle in, and let's get down to the business of soil. You wouldn't go into a pub brawl without knowing the size of your opponent, would you? Well, farming's no different. Before you even think about planting, you need to know what you're dealing with. That means getting your hands dirty and testing your soil. I know, it sounds about as much fun as a root canal. But a simple soil test will tell you everything you need to know about your soil's nutrient levels, its pH balance, and whether it's got enough organic matter to support a decent crop. Think of it like a blood test for your farm. It'll tell you if your soil's got a vitamin deficiency or if it's prone to turning as acidic as a teenager's sock drawer. You can either grab yourself a soil testing kit or, if you're feeling particularly flush, send some samples off to a lab. They'll send you back a report that's more detailed than a Haynes manual, telling you exactly what your soil needs to thrive. Ignore it at your peril. You'll end up with crops so stunted they'll need a stepladder to reach a hamster. Right, now that you know what your soil's lacking, it's time to give it a good feed. But we're not talking about some chemical concoction that would make a scientist's hair stand on end. We're talking about good, old-fashioned organic matter. Think compost, manure, the sort of stuff that would make a vegetarian faint. It's packed full of nutrients and beneficial microbes that'll turn your soil from a barren wasteland into a thriving metropolis of life. Spreading compost is like laying out a 5-star buffet for your soil's little helpers. They'll be munching away, breaking down organic matter and releasing nutrients faster than you can say superphosphate. Another trick is to plant cover crops in the off-season. Think of it like giving your soil a cozy blanket for the winter. Clover, rye, hairy vetch, they'll all do the job, adding organic matter and preventing erosion. Now, I'm a creature of habit. I like my tea strong, my tractors red, and my routine predictable. But when it comes to farming, doing the same thing year after year is a recipe for disaster. That's where crop rotation comes in. It's like a game of musical chairs for your plants, except nobody loses. You see, different crops have different nutrient needs. Some are greedy buggers, sucking the life out of the soil, while others are a bit more generous, actually putting nutrients back in. So, instead of growing corn in the same field until the soil's as depleted as my patience after a day with the sheep, alternate it with something like legumes. They'll fix nitrogen in the soil, making it more fertile for the next crop. It's like a free lunch, except you're the one reaping the rewards. Plus, rotating your crops helps to keep pests and diseases at bay. They won't know what hit them. Now I know what you're thinking. Clarkson, you want me to stop tilling? Have you gone completely mad? Hear me out. Tilling might seem like a good idea, loosening up the soil and all that, but it can actually do more harm than good in the long run. All that churning and turning leaves the soil bare and exposed, vulnerable to erosion and compaction. It's like sending your soil into battle without any armor. So, what's the alternative? Conservation tillage, my friends. That means reducing tillage as much as possible, or even ditching it altogether. Now, I'm not suggesting you go full-on hippie and start hugging trees. There are plenty of ways to practice conservation tillage without sacrificing your yield. You could try no-till farming, where you plant directly into the residue of the previous crop, or strip-till, where you only till narrow strips where you'll be planting. It might take a bit of getting used to, but trust me, your soil will thank you for it. Right, you've tested your soil, fed it with some lovely organic matter, rotated your crops, and embraced the joys of conservation tillage. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and let nature take its course, right? Wrong. Farming's not a spectator sport. You need to be constantly monitoring your soil, checking for any signs of trouble. Think of it like being a detective, but instead of hunting down criminals, you're on the lookout for earthworms. Yes, you heard me right. Earthworms are a farmer's best friend. If you've got a healthy population of those wriggly little fellas in your soil, you know you're doing something right. But it's not just about the worms. Healthy soil should have good drainage, a rich, earthy aroma, and a nice, crumbly texture. If your soil looks pale and lifeless or if it's hard as concrete, you know there's a problem. So, get out there, poke around in your soil and see what you find. So, there you have it. 5 simple, yet effective tips to boost your farm with smart soil management. And the best part is, it doesn't matter if you're farming an acre or 1,000. These techniques can be scaled to fit any operation. So, which one are you going to try first? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, a healthy farm starts with healthy soil. Until next time, keep your tractors fueled, your wellies muddy, and your soil happy. Cheers!